It's fast. Stance Nation S14. What's it actually like to drive? Now then YouTube, welcome to what I hope will become a regular thing on this channel from now on. We're going to be reviewing cars and finding out what they're actually like to drive. Starting off today with this Nissan S14. Bit Stance Nation. This car's been owned by a couple of my friends, passed around like a bit of a village bike. Gav owns it now. He'll be in the car with us when we go for a little drive. But yeah, we're going to be finding out what cars are actually like to drive. So I've got a few different cars lined up throughout the summer. I'm going to try and do one of these a week. If this wasp will fuck off, get fucked. So I'm going to try and do one of these videos a week. We'll be driving a variety of different cars, some on track, mostly on the road. I think it's going to work out. But yeah, standard format, we'll be looking at the cars, having a poke around, going for a drive, and then we'll have a conclusion at the end of what it's actually like to drive. So hopefully this is an exciting new chapter for us all. I'm sure it will be. You got a bit of a taste of it with the jazz video. I know a lot of you liked the jazz video. It's the same kind of format. We're just seeing what cars are like to drive. So the first one really for this new format is this Nissan S14. Is it an S14A, Gav? No. It's not an A because it's got the Kuki. Is it the other way around? Zenki. It's got a Zenki front end, which means pre-facelift. Looks a bit more like a Mondeo than the one that looked like a 406, if you use that analogy. So this is a S14, not an A. It's got quite a lot of work done to it, and it's in quite nice shape because it's still got quite a lot of its original interior. Obviously got these massive Enki wheels, a 9.5J front and rear, so it's doing well to tuck them, but then it's only got a 215 tyre on the front and the rear as well, so quite a bit of stretch. This is very much a Stance Nation car, but it's got a lot of good bits going on at the same time, so it might drive all right. So this car actually has quite a lot of power compared to a standard one. Obviously they're about 200 brake standard, but it's got a bigger turbo and all the usual supporting mods. It's meant to be around 370-ish peak power, did you say? 369 was it? We'll call it 370, Gav. Peak power, so you know, quite a lot for an SR20. Should sound pretty lethal pushing that power through, but we'll find out when we go for a drive. So this car's got quite a few little special bits just before we go for a drive. I mean, it's got a few Nissan parts, bin parts. It's got 350Z brakes and a Skyline diff. But Gav was just telling me to make sure I tell you, I mean, if you're a S-body geek, you've already spotted that it's got all the Navan. That's how you say it, Gav. Navan. It's got all the Navan gear on it. And these cars are worth a lot of money these days. They're not even 5 grand cars anymore. Probably what, 3-4 times that? Especially with all the fancy little bits that you've got going on. I mean, I don't know if I'd give 15 grand for it. If it's a 5 grand car, I think I'd be quite happy. But 15 grand, that's a lot of money. So I guess we need to find out what it's like to drive, Gav. Is it worth its new worth? Hey? See what I did there? Right, so we've got an overview on what this car is. Obviously quite a lot going on. It's got quite a lot of power. It's quite low. What's the lowest part of the car? Is sump or subframe or? Intercooler. Intercooler. All right, so we'll have to keep eye that we don't wipe the intercooler out when we're on his run, but yeah, I'm looking forward to driving it. So let's not waste too much more time looking over the car. You can see what it is. Stance Nation S14. What's it actually like to drive? Well, we're all recording. So this is the pilot, I guess, of this little series that I want to do. I've wanted to do something like this for quite a while. And yeah, like I said, we've got a couple of cars lined up, so this is a bit of a test. Yeah. That's right in there, isn't it? Tight, like. So this is a bit of a test really to see how the cameras are going to do. We've got a GoPro here which has an external mic into the engine bay. We've got a GoPro up here showing you where I'm going. And then we've got the big camera on me, which hopefully doesn't shake too much. But this is the pilot, so let me know your thoughts. But let's start by trying to get this thing out of the fucking car park because it's a bit low, Gav. Do I have to do any special sequence before starting it?
No. Rip it. A little bit of a gas.
Good start, this. Oh, it's very warm in here. Now this car did originally come with aircon, but it's been deleted because performance.
Cheers, Bunny.
There's a bit of a flywheel chatter going on. Oh, we've got a welded diff as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And a 6-foot paddle clutch.
And a 6-foot clutch.
I'm sure you'd be used to all that though.
I am used to driving racing cars, so.
You are a racing driver.
I am a racing driver, Gav. So we've got a few sheep in the mix. So we're going to go for a drive. We'll do about 10 miles or so. Nothing. Ooh, did I bottom it out? A little bit. Oh, she's making some noises, Gav.
It makes a racket.
Is this car an import then?
Yeah. From Cyprus.
Cypriot. So I'm going to have to learn to get good at turbo cars and not just laugh when they do chutters. It's not actually that bad on the road, is it? I mean, for a B road, we're on a good road. So, you know, it's going to get a bit worse down here, but overall, this road isn't too bad. Got some shake on that camera, on it? See, we've got the GoPro 3 as a backup, and hopefully the audio, you know, the audio should be a good, if nothing else, even though you pointed to fucking window. Whoa! She's taking it all right. That could have been a lot worse over that little crest there.
Yeah.
Give plenty of room to my cycling brethren and a little soundtrack for them as well. Fucking hell, it's keen, isn't it? Wow. Yeah, it's sticky as well to say it's just got the 215s on it.
Yeah.
Like, really picked up then, Gav. What's interesting is you can't really tell the diff's welded. I know we've not really boogied that much, but it feels like the rear end's well connected. Some bumps here. Hey, it's taken the bumps really well. So how much are these Driftworks coilovers?
I think they're around about £1,000 mark.
Are they? So they're not cheap ones then. They're not entry level coilovers. Now, if we got a low running thermostat in, or perhaps no thermostat, because we're only at about quarter on the temperature gauge. Oh, we've got some gauges.
Yeah, 75.
So do we know what thermostat it's got in it?
I'm not too sure now.
You know, it's a very hot day and we've been doing a little chew-chews. It must have like a 70-degree thermostat in it or something.
It might be the coil rad. You know, I've heard many good things about them.
It's true. Koyo Rad. Legitimate Japanese super cooling company. They don't give a fuck.
Good day, sir.
How does it feel from the passenger seat?
A bit scary with you.
Is it a bit scary?
Yeah, aye.
It's real fast.
Do you believe the power figure?
I believe the power figure, definitely. Yeah. It feels faster than my M3. So it's about, well, you know, around the same power as what my M3 is, right? Oh, there's a dog in a basket. So, you know, roughly it's a bit more power peak than the M3, but it's obviously a bit lighter. Yeah. But it feels a lot faster than the M3. It makes a nice sound. You know, I thought we'd be bottoming out everywhere, but we're just not, are we? It's, I mean, we've picked a good road, we've picked a good day, but it's taking it no problem. I've not heard it bottom out yet, have you?
No.
So what's it actually driving like then? It's driving good, Gav, really. I mean, it's one of the better, you only bought it recently, but, you know, of the S14s in the UK, it's one of the better ones, isn't it? We can, you know, just being around it for 5 minutes, you can tell that. It's a nice one. And obviously the lad who had it originally, because I think it was in Scotland for a lot of its life, weren't it?
Yeah, it was.
And the lad who had it, he was very meticulous about everything, and everything has to be right with this guy, and yeah, he's obviously put a lot of nice bits on it. There we go, we got something coming down the road here, Gav. What's this? Alpha?
Yeah, Alpha.
And
is it
Triumph, maybe?
Is it TR6?
Maybe a Triumph TR6, yeah. Was that the same?
Yeah, same.
Same, maybe, yeah. So these videos, they're going to be first impressions really. We're not doing in-depth reviews. I'm probably not going to be telling you anything about the car that you don't already know or that you can't just see by looking. I think what we're going to be doing is literally seeing what my opinion is of it, and so far I like it, Gav. I mean, I don't know if I could own the nest body. I come close to having the nest body, because I'll give you a nice little story. My uncle used to own one from brand new. It was a 99 red UK car, automatic, and he bought it when he retired. It was his granddad's brother, so great uncle, however you want to say it, but he lives far away, and he used to come and visit us sometimes. And I remember being at primary school when he was visiting, and he took me to school in the red S14. It was an S14A, I think it would have been, a V-plate, 99. And obviously all the kids thinking it's a Ferrari, me included. I didn't really know what it was. Remember it had cream leather interior though. It was red with cream leather interior. And that car got traded in about 3 years ago. And he probably got about 1,500 quid for it. Even at an auto, it would have been worth a few grand, surely.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, if it didn't have no rust on it.
No, it was a Mac. It had like 60,000 miles on it. But he traded it in because the boot wasn't big enough for his suitcases or something. We've got an absolute beast that's just pulled out on us. I don't know if we'll be able to keep up with this one. I'm going to try. Oh, it's flying, man. Yep. To be honest, I won't mind being in that street. Is it a street car, that?
Street car.
I won't mind being in that. It's hot in here. It's so hot in this car. I don't know if I'm Patch Adams yet. So the road's getting a bit rougher now. The car's taking it pretty well. We can tell, you know, there's no hiding that we're in an S14 that's, you know, an inch off the floor or whatever. I'm surprised it hasn't bottomed out yet or anything. Seems to be taking that quite well.
How do you find the driving position?
It's not the best. I think it's because it's on sliding. So it's on sliding rails, this seat, and you might be able to tell I'm a bit higher than what I'd normally be. But because the steering wheel's extended so much, my knees are no problem. So it's fine. You know, I could probably, you know, happily drive on track like this, and I think I can just about do a heel and toe. Should we try a heel and toe? Yeah. It's fast. We should have done the boost braking stuff, what they do.
Ah, yeah.
So I've been watching some YouTube videos of people drag racing and stuff in America, and they do this thing. Normally the cars are automatic, but they cover the brake with their left foot. Yeah, I don't know whether it's to get the torque converter or the turbo or something, but they basically 2 feet on the pedals, and then when they let go of the brake pedal and slam the accelerator on, the cars just absolutely fuck off. I'll try this brake boosting thing. So So we're at 3,200. It went, didn't it?
Yeah,
It fucking went then. That's cool, that.
I think it built a bar of boost before you
Did it?
went for it, yeah.
Microphone check 1 2.
She's on now.
It's recording now, yeah. Right, so we've been for a nice little drive there in the S14. I think I like it. I think we'll have a bit of a conclusion. We're just on the way back to the car park now. We'll get the tripod set up again, and I'll tell you, what was it actually like to drive? Well, definitely a lot of fun, that's for sure. It's real sharp when it comes, you know, when you change gear, it's just there again, isn't it? It's not like, it's not waiting for anything. Be a beast this at the ring.
Yeah, some decent tyres. A bit more meat.
Right then, conclusion. What's it like to drive a high power, I think it's fair to say high power, 370 horsepower out of an SR20. Pretty good going. What's it like driving a high powered S-body, which is a bit stance nation, on a very, very country road? It was actually a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. I expected to be quite a lot of crashing and, you know, random bits vibrating and, you know, generally just feeling a bit unsafe, but didn't feel like any of that. Felt pretty controlled, felt good, felt flat. There's quite a few little jumps and crests going on, so these coilovers, I don't know if they've got a decent droop or whatever, or I don't know anything about them, but it certainly felt like it dealt with not just the big dips in the road, but also the little dips in the road as well. And you know, we're only on 215 tyres all the way around. We've got these big wide rims. It really drove a lot better than what I was expecting it to. I don't know if it was anything to do with the fact that the car's obviously got all its interior apart from the driver's seat or whatever, but it didn't feel like a traditional kind of ropey drift car. The welded diff, unless you wanted to tell if it was there or not, unless you really wanted to, you know, feel it, then it wasn't intrusive at all, which is very strange. I wonder how, surely a welded diff's a welded diff, how can it feel different in one car to the other? I don't fully understand that. But yeah, it was fine. And obviously when we were pulling into the car park, it didn't feel so good, but on the road, you just had traction from the rear. I know we saw from one of the drive-by shots that it can break traction if provoked, but you know, unless you really want it to, it's not gonna break traction, and that's, you know, it's putting a lot of power down. The tyres, by the way, they are semi-decent really. They're Federal RS Pros, I think. They're RS Pros, aren't they, Gav?
Yeah.
So they've got the Federal semi-slick kind of 200 treadwear-ish tyres, so you know, we're on some decent rubber. Maybe that's got a lot to do with the fact that it's putting the power down so well just on these 215s, but also we're putting the power down all the time. It's not like if we had an open diff or a viscous diff where, you know, the diff would have to be figuring out, or maybe not figuring out where the power was going and just spinning one of the wheels. We're putting the power down to two wheels all the time, and yeah, the tyres were coping well. So if this was my car, what would I do differently? Well, I'd definitely raise it up a little bit. We didn't actually bottom out on anything, and we're, you know, quite hard on a back road. We didn't bottom out, but I definitely want it a bit higher, just so, you know, going off-road little places like this, so we're not actually, because we were coming into this car park, we were scraping the bumper quite a lot, and you know, it was less than ideal. So I'd have it a bit higher. I'd make more use out of these 9.5J rims. I'd get, you know, at least a, you know, 245 or a 255 tyre on the back. and then what, maybe a 235, 225 on the front. You've got all this meat on the wheel. You've got, you know, plenty of capacity to put a much bigger tyre on. I don't know why you'd go 215, but maybe it's for, maybe there's some fitment issues we don't know about, but definitely try and get a bigger tyre in. Obviously, on the road, if it was just going to continue to be a road car, then we know it's got enough traction to have fun. It doesn't understeer. Even with the welded diff, there was no understeer just from these 215s on the front. So it's got a lot of balance on the road, but obviously if I was buying it, I'd maybe want to look at doing some track days and stuff. So yeah, I'd raise it up a little bit, get some stickier rubber. The brakes felt very good. We didn't really talk about the brakes, but I don't know what pad's in there, but the pedal was firm all the time and the bite's nice. Yeah, the brakes felt really nice. Obviously we've got the 350Z caliper on the front like we said, and then the original caliper on the rear, but it's got a real nice pedal feel, and the bite's, yeah, the bite's really nice. So the brakes are fine, I probably wouldn't change them really. It's really nice having an interior in a car. I mean, mine 3 is way worse than this. I know you've not seen it recently, but now that I've stripped all the interior out of the E46, then it's just a rattle box. You know, you can't really hear what's going on, but it's quite nice to see an S-body with all that, and even the rear bench just still there. And it's not cream, it's black, because so many of these obviously had cream interior. So I can see why you'd want to keep the interior in, because it's, you know, it's nice, and it's got enough power to negate any of the extra weight that you're going to gain from your rear bench and everything. So yeah, there's not a great deal I'd do differently, just I guess removing the Stance Nation side of it with the skinny tyres and the ride height, but other than that, it drives really good. So I was wanting to think about a bit of a rating system if we're going to be doing a few cars. And I don't think it's not something that I've got to grasp with really yet. I've spoken about it before, a bit of a Doug score kind of thing. But I think for now, obviously this is the pilot episode of this little, you know, YouTube adventure. I think for now we'll just leave it. I'll let you know if it's a good car or not. I'll be pretty binary in that response. Is it a good car or not? Yes, it's a good car. Even as it is now. We'll rate cars as we see them. With the Stance Nation aspect, is it still a good car? Yes, it is. Would I pay 15 grand for it? Well, if you want an S-body and you want a nice one with some decent power, you haven't got a choice. You're either paying that or you're not having one. So I'll leave that one up to you. Right, to wrap this video up then, what is the Stancy S14 like to drive? In a word, good. I had a lot of fun driving it, thanks to Gav for letting me take it out. And obviously this is the star car, this is the start of the feature of me telling you what cars are like to drive. Now, I think everyone would have expected this car to be good to drive, right? We've spoken about how, you know, we could have a bit more tyre on there and the suspension could be a bit higher. But to say the car's in the form that it is now, with the, you know, looking cool on the internet, it's still does drive really well. And obviously we've been on quite hard roads. We've been on GT4 roads. I don't know if you can see that car pulling out now, but it's a Celica GT4. These are the kind of roads that we're on, and the S-body just ate it up and was really fun. So yeah, had a good time. Right, so I hope you enjoyed watching today's video with the Nissan. Thanks again to Gav for letting me drive it, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh shit, about to see some nature up on the moors then. About to see some nature. Little lamb looks pissed off.